It's the penultimate game of the WPIAL regular season. Both teams have qualified for the playoffs, and this game is for more than just second place in the Allegheny 9 conference standings. It's about home field advantage for the playoffs, which start in 2 weeks' time. Hello, everyone. I'm Brendan Rossi, joined alongside my partner Sam Hickson, live from Joe P. DiMcCullough Stadium, the penultimate game of the regular season and the final home game of the regular season for the West Allegheny Indians. And if the Indians lose, this will be the final time that West Allegheny will play on its home turf. But taking a look at what West Allegheny did last week in a 24-14 win against the Hampton Talbots. Nico Flatty, the freshman, getting his first honor of player of the game last week in the win against the Hampton Talbots in a 24-14 victory against head coach Jock DiMattio's squad. But the thing that struggled for Nico Flatty, he struggled to holding on to the ball, fumbling the ball twice, 2 turnovers in one game, the first time that West Allegheny has done so since the PIAA semifinal game against the Harrisburg Cougars. Brendan Rossi and Sam Hickson are on the call for you here tonight from Joe P. DiMcCullough Stadium. West Allegheny is fighting for home field advantage in second place in the Allegheny 9 conference standings. Taking a look at the keys to the game, first we're going to start off with the West Allegheny Indians. Probably their biggest key to the game is winning time of possession. West Allegheny is a team that likes to pound the ball down your throats and hold on to the ball as much as they can. We saw it in the game 2 weeks ago against Upper St. Clair. They won on a 9-minute drive and went in from 20 yards out. That's something that West Allegheny needs to establish early on, is a dominant offense to keep the Woodland Hills defense out on the field. They also need to shut down Woodland Hills' running attack. They have a three-headed monster at running back. Rodney Denard, Anthony Meredith, and Jaquan Smith all will see time at running back. And finally, West Allegheny needs to play a complete game. We cannot stress this enough because West Allegheny has unable to put together a complete 4 quarters, struggling in one half and then dominating the other. Last week it wasn't so much of a trend, but either way, West Allegheny needs to pick up the slack in a game especially as critical as this one here tonight. We'll get you the Woodland Hills keys after the kickoff. West Allegheny won the opening coin toss and has deferred to the second half. Woodland Hills to receive, and kicking off is Colby Stout back deep. The 3 deep men for Woodland Hills: Nazir Taylor, Rodney Denard, and Jaquan Smith. An electric atmosphere here at Joe P. DiMcCullough Stadium. West Allegheny looking to get home field advantage in second place in the Allegheny 9 conference standings. Woodland Hills, on the other hand, they're trying to come back from losing last year to West Allegheny twice, once in the regular season, 52-13, which was the first time that Woodland Hills had ever been mercy ruled at the Wolf Arena. While in the semifinal game, Woodland Hills lost to West Allegheny 35-7 in what turned out to be head coach George Novak's final game ever as the head coach for the Woodland Hills Wolverines. Colby Stout to kick it away. Once again, Taylor, Denard, and Smith back deep, and this is a short one taken by the up man Christopher Jones at the 37-yard line, and Jones has some wide open lanes down the left side, down to the 50-yard line, down to the 35, has some blockers in Denard, and Christopher Jones is down to the 10-yard line.
A little squib kick from Colby Stout there. Christopher Jones took it all the way back. He looks down. They're going to mark it at the West Allegheny 10-yard line. Definitely not the star West Allegheny wants in this football game, where they're trying to decide who will get home field advantage.
And speaking of Woodland Hills, their keys to the game include, first off, they need to establish that depth at the running back position. Something that West Allegheny has kind of had to milk their way through some other offensive positions to get a running back. Woodland Hills has 3 strong candidates at running back, including Denard, Meredith, and Jaquan Smith. They need to force Cruz to throw defensively. Woodland Hills has the number 1 pass defense in all of the Allegheny 9. And finally, speaking of the passing game, they need to get it going themselves. Woodland Hills is the least efficient passing game in the entire conference, so that's something Woodland Hills would need to establish early on. Speaking of early on, we already have a flag thrown on the play before starting quarterback Daniel Jones can take the snap. We'll await the signal from our head referee, Tony LaScala. His officiating crew, umpire Dustin Woodward. His linesman is Darren Bauer, Line judge is Kevin Malone. Field judge is Dave Wojcik, and the side judge is John
5-yard
Megorian.
First down.
Flag is on Woodland Hills. It's a 5-yard penalty. A false start was the call. It'll back the Wolverines up to the 15-yard line. Starting offense for Woodland Hills, starting quarterback is Daniel Jones, and he has an offer from West Virginia State alongside his starting wide receiver, Naz Taylor. And we'll get to the rest of the starters momentarily as Taylor gets the pass dropped, being covered by Isaiah Crow on the attempted slant pattern, and Crow had that scouted the whole way. It's second down. The running backs, as I mentioned several times already, Rodney Denard, Anthony Meredith, and Jaquan Smith. We'll see some time at running back. Denard's coming back after being injured in the Week 6 win to North Hills. The fullbacks, Marcus Taylor and Chris Jones. 2nd and 15 as Jones hands off up the middle to Anthony Meredith, gets down to the 5-yard line where he's brought down from behind by Brent Mangold and Mateo Van Damia. A nice 10-yard pickup on the first run play for Woodland Hills, setting up a 3rd down and 5. The tight ends, Eric Oliver and Josh Rawlings. And as I said, the wide receivers, Naz Taylor, Jaden Lucas, and the superstar freshman, Davian Rochelle. 3rd down and 5. Daniel Jones gives to Meredith. Has a wide open hole, but Meredith is swarmed under on the play. Kyle Guilfoyle laying the lumber on the junior running back, stopping him at the 3-yard line.
We'll see what Woodland Hills decides to do here. But if they kick the field goal, consider it a moral victory for West Allegheny, considering the kickoff was taken back all the way to the 10-yard line.
Also, the offensive line hampered by the suspension to Andrew Alexander, normally the starting center. That'll move the Tyrell Barlow to center. The rest of the offensive line, Andre Hillier at left tackle, Michael Lucas at left guard, Jeremy Thomas at right guard, and Tavega Berg at right tackle. Already a huge play in the game, 4th down and goal from the 3. Daniel Jones hands off to Meredith, and Meredith is swarmed under at the 5-yard line. West Allegheny holds on 4th and goal. Kyle Guilfoyle, Bryce Manley combined on the stop. Guilfoyle already with 2 key tackles on 3rd and 4th down. He comes up big for the West Allegheny defense.
As I said earlier, a huge moral victory for West Allegheny, considering they started that drive on the 10-yard line. West Allegheny giving them no points there is really big, considering the implications of this game.
West Allegheny will start at its own 5-yard line. Woodland Hills is the number 1 defense in the Allegheny 9, but in terms of yardage, Woodland Hills is in the middle of the pack, standing at about 3rd place in terms of total yardage. And getting the start at running back for the first time in 3 weeks is Will Weber, coming back from a sprained ankle. We'll get you the rest of the offensive starters following the play. 1st down and 10 from the 5 as Weber keeps it himself. Rolling to the left. Weber has some room. Down to the 20-yard line, being dragged down from behind by Jaden Lucas and Caleb Brevard down to the 23-yard line. A key 18-yard pickup by the senior. Welcome back, Will Weber. For the rest of the offensive starters, at quarterback, you'll see Cam Cruz whenever they're not lined up in the Wildcat. Running backs, as you saw there, Will Weber returning from injury. You'll see Tyler Galan and Nico Flatty split in there as well. The starting fullback is Anthony Tompkins. The receivers, Jake Davis, Isaiah Crow, and Noah Ledford. The starting tight ends are Mateo Vandamia and Brent Mangle. On a 1st and 10 from the West Allegheny 23, Will Weber is in the Wildcat. Weber running to the right, has a hole, gets banged around by Rodney Denard and pushes the pile to the 30-yard line. Will Weber took a hit, and he's showing that he may not be at 100%, but he's at least at 85 and takes a big hit there and keeps on ticking. The offensive line for West Allegheny, at left tackle, Anthony Delavade. Left guard is Spencer Mason. The center is Zach Hogue. The right guard is Bryce Manley. And the right tackle is Sebastian Ricketts. Woodland Hills defense on the defensive line, Eric Oliver, Joshua Rawlings at defensive end. At defensive tackle, Tyrell Barlow and Michael Lucas. On a 2nd and 3, Weber fakes the jet sweep, rolls to the left, has some room. Down to the 38, and he's slammed to the turf by Michael Coleman. A 5-yard pickup by Weber, and Will Weber has this offense rolling.
Will Weber had bobbled the snap a little bit there, but he was able to evade Josh Rawlings before he could get to him, roll to the outside, and picked up some positive yardage. Having Will Weber back is so important for this West Allegheny offense, leading the team with 9 touchdowns this year.
He's the heart and soul of this West Allegheny team, something the Indians were missing the last couple of weeks. It's great to see him back, and we'll see how West Allegheny utilizes him as time goes on. Weber will step out. Here comes Tyler Gallant. He will take the Wildcat snap. The linebackers for Woodland Hills, Marcus Taylor, Sidney Summers, Caleb Brevard, and Michael Roman. As we'll get a whistle thrown, the general indication is that it's a pre-snap penalty against West Allegheny. In the secondary, Woodland Hills only runs a 4-4-3, so you'll see 3 defensive backs in the backfield. Jake Smith and Nas Taylor
remains first down.
While the starting safety is Rodney Denard.
It was unclear this week if Rodney Denard was going to play. It's good to see him in there for Woodland Hills today.
Rodney Denard was, as I said, injured in the win against North Hills early on. Missed last week altogether. He's being recruited mainly as a safety. He has several offers right now to places such as Howard University, St. Francis, and so on and so forth. 1st and 15, Tyler Gallant off the left side, and Gallant gets wrapped down on the play. Sidney Summers, the star junior linebacker, wraps him down to the 35-yard line. Bringing up a 2nd down and 13 for West Allegheny. Ball spotted at its own 35-yard line, and Cam Cruz will trot on the field. He'll see his first snaps as the quarterback. Cam Cruz on the year, 25 for 41, 239 yards. In terms of starters, he's last in the Allegheny 9 in terms of yards, but he has a pretty good QBR at 117.49. Hasn't thrown an interception and has thrown one touchdown in the Week 5 win against Kiski. Cam Cruz throws down the middle of the field, and the pass is intercepted by Rodney Denard. I spoke too soon. Denard picks off Cruz, looking for Mangle down the middle of the field, running to the left. Denard using his shiftiness to get down to the 25-yard line, but there's a flag down at the 20-yard line. I pretty much jinxed Cam Cruz on that throw. He throws his first pick of the season, and it comes at a point where West Allegheny looked like it had all the momentum, and now Woodland Hills snatches it back early on.
Cam Cruz had a receiver going down the seam of the field. It looked like he got tripped up a little bit, allowing Denard to get under the ball.
Sideline warning.
Make the interception, and he had a nice return as well.
First down.
The flag is a sideline warning, so it won't affect the yardage on the play. It'll be 1st and 10 Woodland Hills. Ball is 27 yards away from our first score. So West Allegheny with a defensive stop, rolls down the middle of the field and is picked off by Rodney Denard, who is returning from injury. And the Wolverines are back in business. Daniel Jones set to lead his offense out, and the left tackle, Andre Hilliard, steps forward to cause Woodland Hills 5 yards.
False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
The starting defense for West Allegheny. The defensive ends, Brent Mangold and Mateo Vandamia, while Anthony Takis, the meatball, plugs up the middle. The linebackers, Nico Flatty, Anthony Delavade, Nate Vislowski, and you'll see a combination of Kyle Merritt and Tyler Gallant. The secondary, Isaiah Crow and Elijah Collier as a corner, Noah Ledford and Cal Guilfoyle at safety. Here's a 1st and 15. Rawlings in motion. Jones hands off. Going up the middle is Jaquan Smith, and Smith is wrestled down by the wrestler Nico Flatty for a 1-yard loss. Nico Flatty is one of those players that Bob Palco said could be a player for this team, and he's played a substantial role in the 2017 campaign.
Yeah, he's a part of that trio of running backs that you will see in there for West Allegheny, making a nice play there from the linebacker position.
Nico Flatty was originally a starter on defense. He got the starting job in Week 3 after Noah Ledford went down with a sprained knee injury, and Will Weber was moved to safety in the wake of that, thrusting Nico Flatty in the linebacker role. But on 2nd down and long, Jones dumps it off to Mike Whitehurst, and he's tripped up by Elijah Colliers, crossing the line of scrimmage. Down to the 27-yard line he goes. It's a pickup of 6 to make it 2nd down, make that 3rd down and 10. Noah Ledford also in on the stop, as you hear from public address announcer Bill Gamble. Here at West Allegheny, he's been doing this for 53 years. So obviously a lot of experience under his belt on a 3rd down and 10. Woodland Hills will attempt its 2nd 3rd down of the night. Woodland Hills couldn't convert on the 3rd down and goal from the 5. Let's see what it does on 3rd and 10. Daniel Jones drops back, lobs one to the right side of the field, looking for Whitehurst, out of the reach of the senior wide receiver, converted from quarterback, and it's 4th and 10.
That penalty coming back to bite Woodland Hills. That's the 2nd penalty they have taken. That's a pre-snap penalty that has moved them back and not allowed them to score.
This is 4-down range, as this is just outside of junior kicker Chucky Hanchet's field goal range. So Woodland Hills offense will stay on the field for this 4th and 10. The Wolverines are converting 50% on 4th down, while West Allegheny has let opponents convert 9 times out of 19 attempts on 4th down. Daniel Jones in a passing situation. Looks down the middle of the field, throws it to the end zone, and the pass is intercepted in the end zone, but Ledford's foot was out of bounds, and lucky for West Allegheny that Ledford was out of bounds. They would have started at the 20-yard line if he caught it inbounds, but nonetheless, it's a turnover on downs. The Indians have the ball at their own 27.
Jones kind of threw that one up into just triple coverage. No one really in the area, just a bunch of West Allegheny defenders.
Will Weber leads this offense back out on the field, but we have a timeout called early on the play.
Media timeout.
An official TV timeout. We have multiple crews out covering this game, including the West Allegheny Sports Network, which we thank you so much for tuning in to us here on this Week 8 game between West Allegheny and Woodland Hills. We also have 22 The Point covering this game as well. You can tune into the game on Channel 22. At least if you have DirecTV, that's what I have, and it's on Channel 22, so there you go. You also have the Woodland Hills Football Network covering the game with Adam Gusky and Bob Orquist, the converted Trib Live High School Sports Network commentator, going down to Woodland Hills and taking over the reins of some of the play-by-play and color commentating duties. And also WPXI is here as well, so you expect to see this game on Channel 11 News as well.
You mentioned this game has huge implications for playoffs, home field advantage at stake. This is a big game, so you might as well have a lot of people covering it.
Absolutely, yes. The winner of this game gets home field advantage in the Allegheny in the 5A playoffs. Upper St. Clair has all but clinched a share of the 5A Allegheny 9 Conference Championship with a win against West Allegheny 2 weeks ago. Woodland Hills will play the Panthers next week at Upper St. Clair. That'll be a game that I know I'll be watching very closely. We resume live action. Will Weber leads his offense out on the field. He's already got 3 carries on the game for 33 yards. He gets his 4th carry, running up the middle. And Weber is gang tackled. Michael Lucas and Caleb Brevard combined on the stop. Lucas got tangled up in Weber's ankle as you see Weber hobbling off the field. Weber's returning from a sprained ankle. He's not at 100%. You see there he's feeling the effects of Michael Lucas wrapping up on his leg.
That's where the trio of running backs come in. Nico Flatty, Tyler Gallant, as well as sometimes you'll see Mateo Vandamia get some carries out of the backfield as well.
This will be Tyler Gallant as the Wildcat running back, sending Flatty in motion. The give is to Flatty. Has some room on the right side, and Flatty gets flipped down on the play by Sidney Summers. It is first down yardage for the freshman, down to the 37-yard line. Make that the 38. West Allegheny converts on a 2nd down and 6. But the key here is Will Weber is limping his way on the sideline. He's walking under his own power, but expect to see Will Weber take some time off after getting wrapped up by Michael Lucas awkwardly on his leg. Tyler Gallant remains in as the Wildcat running back. He's carried most of the load the past 2 weeks. Gallant up the middle. He's hit hard as he crosses the line of scrimmage by Michael Lucas. The monstrous 6', 283-pound senior hammering Gallant down to the 39-yard line, making it 2nd down and a short 9 from the 39-yard line. Cam Cruz back out on the field once again as Tyler Gallant gets down to the 39-yard line. He has 47 carries for 227 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also threw for 35 yards last week against Hampton, a 35-yard completion to Mateo Vandamia, the 2nd longest pass completion of the year. Gallant gives to Cruz, and Cruz looking for an open man, trying to pass it, and Cruz is hit hard, trying the jet sweep from left to right. Jaden Lucas laying the lumper on him at the 40-yard line, making it 3rd down and 8.
Cam Cruz coming around on the end around, looking to pass down the field, but it turns out he didn't have an open man, so he just tried to get as much yardage as he could and just bit the bullet right there.
It's a play that West Allegheny practiced on Tuesday. They practiced that several times, and it worked to perfection each time, but here tonight it didn't work on the first try. The Cam Cruz is in the shotgun on the 3rd and 8. A passing situation for West Allegheny. We haven't seen much passing all year. West Allegheny is only averaging 91 pass yards a game. 3rd down and 8. Cruz, 5-step drop. Flushed out of the pocket by Rawlings. And he just throws it at the feet of Jake Davis. He was covered by Roman, and pressure is being brought down on the right side by Josh Rawlings and Eric Oliver. So the punting game will come out on the field. Colby Stout to punt. Back deep is Rodney Denard. Colby Stout, his older siblings, Carolyn and Christian, both attend Penn State. The Nittany Lions have a big game tomorrow against the Michigan Wolverines. I know that our own Joe Smelter will be watching that game from West Point, which is where he is tonight. On a 4th down and 8, Colby Stout punts it away, and it goes to the left side. Takes a bounce at the left seam, and it takes a West Allegheny roll down to the Woodland Hills 23-yard line. The Wolverines will set up shop 1st and 10 from their own 23-yard line. In only the 5th meeting all time between West Allegheny and Woodland Hills. The Indians are 3-1 against Woodland Hills, winning the first matchup. My senior year, which was in 2014, they won a dramatic 42-41 game against what was George Novak's football team, led by Miles Sanders, who's now at Penn State.
We have a media timeout.
And then the following year, Woodland Hills hosted West Allegheny in the biggest game that doesn't matter, basically. That's what everyone was calling it back then. And Woodland Hills came away with a dramatic 22-15 win at the Wolverina. And then last year, a shocking 52-13 win against Woodland Hills, the first time that Woodland Hills has ever been mercy ruled at the Wolverina. And then in the semifinals last season, in the WPIL 5A playoffs, West Allegheny retired George Novak. 35-7 was the final at Baldwin Stadium. Woodland Hills also notable for being, in terms of producing D1 talent, they're the best in the country. They have more NFL and Division I products than any school, not just in the state of Pennsylvania, but in the country. And this includes players such as one of your favorites, Rob Gronkowski, Jason Taylor, who was just nominated to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Steve Breston, Ryan Mundy, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, just to name a few others, and including Miles Sanders, who is NFL bound probably in a couple of years.
Oh, Jason Taylor is one of the best defensive ends of our generation. I know for certain he's considered a first ballot, Hall of Famer.
And that is no relation to the starting fullback Marcus Taylor, by the way, in case anyone was wondering. It's 1st down and 10, Woodland Hills from the 23. Nas Taylor in the Wildcat QB. We saw some of this last week in the win against Moon. And Taylor gets brought down to the 30-yard line by Brent Mangold. It's a 2nd down and 3. Nas Taylor ran that to perfection last week against Moon, running 3 times for 92 yards, including the longest play of the season for Woodland Hills, a 60-yard touchdown run. Again, it's Taylor in the Wildcat. They've been saving this up for this week. Roddy Denard botches the handoff. There's a scrum between him and Flatty for the ball. From here, it looks like Denard jumped on it, and he did. Denard ripped the ball away from the charging linebacker Nico Flatty's grasp, but Woodland Hills gets back to the original line of scrimmage. It's 3rd down, and make that an 11 from the 22-yard line.
Yeah, Nas Taylor botching the handoff a little bit. Rodney Denard had some trouble with it. Luckily for him, he got back on top of it right away.
You see the ball was loose as the replay started. Denard just got on the ball before Flatty could make a move. And Woodland Hills, luckily for them, will maintain possession. So no more Wildcat for now. Daniel Jones is under center with Denard standing about 7 yards behind him. Passing situation as Jones rolls to the right, has all sorts of room, being pressured by Van Damia in the pass, bobbled and complete to Nas Taylor for a 1st down. Jones was hammered by Van Damia, and Taylor with a juggling act catches the ball at the 36. He's fired up after that catch, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, a huge catch for Nas Taylor. You'll be calling his name a lot tonight. One of the more athletic players, more impactful players on this Woodland Hills lineup.
Nas Taylor, a footballer and basketballer as well. He has an offer from West Virginia State. Also attended camps, visited Temple University and Pittsburgh. He's also friends with Aaron Matthews, the former Clareton wide receiver, turned into a Pitt standout at wide receiver. Denard up the middle, charging his way down to the 43-yard line. Vislowski brings him down for a 6-yard pickup for the man that he calls himself Too Shifty. He even has custom cleats that say Shifty Island. So Roddy Denard using his shiftiness throughout the game, including that interception we saw earlier on in the game. He uses his power this time to get down to the 43. It's 2nd down and 4. Daniel Jones again under center with a receiver to each side. Handoff Denard up the middle, following his right tackle, DeVega Bird, and Denard will get the first down to the 47-yard line. Denard just followed his blockers, especially the 322-pound right tackle, DeVega Bird, and once you get a 322-pounder on your grasp, more than likely you're not going to get out of that, and it gave Woodland Hills a first down. But that'll also put an end to the first quarter. The clock is stopped at 16 seconds to go in quarter number 1. This next play will more than likely be the final. And now with some confusion between the officials and the scoreboard operator, that will be the final play of quarter number 1. No score, and Woodland Hills and West Allegheny committing some gaffes early on, giving each other great field position, and both teams just unable to capitalize on each other's mistakes.
Yeah, we've seen some pre-snap penalties. We've seen some turnovers. Well, not some turnovers, but some botched snaps, some weird handoffs. It hasn't been exactly the most clean half for either side. We'll see what happens this half, or this quarter, when Woodland Hills, they've seemed to start the pattern more. The offensive linemen have started to move West Allegheny back a little bit.
We're live from Joe P. DeMcCullough Stadium. West Allegheny playing host to the Woodland Hills Wolverines, the penultimate regular season football game. And for West Allegheny and for Woodland Hills, this is a critical game because the winner will get home field advantage in the Allegheny 9, at least coming out of the Allegheny 9 conference and heading into the 5A playoffs. Both teams have already clinched. Upper St. Clair more than likely has at least a share of the conference championship. And if Woodland Hills wins tonight, that puts a huge hole that West Allegheny needs to dig themselves out of, considering that they'll probably have to go on the road for the playoffs. And keep in mind, the two teams that at least I see them playing, Gateway and McKeesport. So, not good.
West Allegheny's been really resilient this year. They've dealt with a lot of injuries, including Dante Flatty, who broke his collarbone earlier in the season. 6 total touchdowns for him this year. Will Weber has been banged up all year. He has not made an appearance back in this game, I believe, yet. They've been a resilient team, and the fact that they're sitting at the top of the conference and the top of the league is pretty good for them. Bob Palco said, "I don't mean this in a bragging way, but I have high expectations for this team this year," and they've certainly performed to those high expectations, only having one loss so far.
West Allegheny's developed a mentality where championship or bust every single year, and over the past few years, it's been mostly championships. Winning in 2012, 2013, and of course last season, making the championship in 2014, and only missing in 2015, at least since the 2012 season. West Allegheny has not lost very often. As a matter of fact, they've only lost 10 times. And West Allegheny trying to avoid being defeated at home for back-to-back times. If Woodland Hills wins tonight, this will be the first time since 1996 that West Allegheny has lost back-to-back home games. That's before I was even born, or before either of us were born, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Bob Palco really has a standard of excellence that the Whippeal has recognized over the past couple years. 23 years, 19 Whippeal playoff berths. Pretty impressive.
Absolutely is. Both teams take the field. We're about to begin quarter number 2. This game's going to take a little bit longer than normal because of 22 the point covering this game. They'll have required TV timeouts throughout the game. It's a 1st and 10 from the 47. Jones to Denard. Denard is hammered by Anthony Delavade and is slammed down right before he gets to midfield. And that'll be a 2nd down and 7 situation for the Wolverines.
Yeah, Delavade, the Duquesne commit, really laying the wood on that play. Very impressive tackle.
Anthony Delavade will not join his brother Armin, who is the leading tackler at Youngstown State, but instead he will join former West Allegheny alum Justin Baker, the starting center, and Chase Dillon, a familiar name for West Allegheny folks. He is starter on defense over at Duquesne University. They just came off of a 51-14 win against the Robert Morris Colonials last week. 2nd down and 7. Rawlings goes in motion as Jones to Denard again. And once again, Denard brought down in the backfield. This time it's Bryce Manley. bringing him down for a 1-yard loss. Bryce Manley, the stepbrother of another familiar West Allegheny name, Sean Orsini, a starting linebacker for the last 3 seasons over at St. Francis University. As a matter of fact, St. Francis and Duquesne square off tomorrow, so we'll see the Orsini-Delavade reunion tomorrow in an NEC conference matchup. But nonetheless, it's 3rd down and 8 from the 49-yard line. Expect another passing down for Woodland Hills. The Wolverines have converted 34% on 3rd down, and they try to convert another. Jones lobs it down the middle of the field. The pass is intercepted by Noah Ledford. Ledford whipping it out of the grasp with Jaden Lucas. And Ledford down to the 40-yard line, has some blockers. Down to the 45, he is hit hard out of bounds at the 46-yard line by Tyrell Barlow. But Noah Ledford, a huge interception, gives West Allegheny great starting field position at the 46.
A little bit of a rash decision there by Daniel Jones, throwing into double coverage. He tried to find Jaden Lucas over towards the far corner of the end zone. It did not work out. Ledford was was there and ready to make a play.
Daniel Jones throws his 4th interception of his season, and that is also the 9th interception thrown by Woodland Hills. They've only thrown 3 touchdowns all season. So the Woodland Hills passing game continues to be ineffective, and West Allegheny hopes to capitalize. Tyler Gallant fakes to Kyle Merritt. He splits the defense. Down to the 30. Makes a move on Taylor. Down to the 20. Inside the 10. And Nas Taylor brings him down to the 7-yard line. A 39-yard gain by Tyler Gallant, the longest play of the season for the senior, and it's 1st and goal.
He went right off left tackle, right through the hole. Great hold by Spencer Mason and Anthony Delavade, and he was off to the races.
It's now a 1st down and goal from the 7. West Allegheny is going to try to punch it in. Kyle Merritt will take the snap. Running left. Merritt spinning his way down to the 4-yard line, where he's gang tackled by a host of Woodland Hills Wolverines led by Michael Lucas, bringing up a 2nd down and goal. A timeout will be taken on the play as you take a look at the 39-yard run by Tyler Gallant. Fakes to Merritt and had a huge hole up the middle as the center, Zach Hogue, had a great block on Jeremy Thomas, the reserve defensive tackle, and Gallant just did all the rest from there down to the 7-yard line. Keep in mind, too, that West Allegheny boys soccer is in action tomorrow here at Joe P. DiMcCullough Stadium for the first round of the WPIAL Class 3A boys soccer playoffs. The Indians will take on the West Mifflin Titans. West Allegheny, the #1 team in the state in the Class 3A classification in boys soccer. And the highway to Highmark that'll start tomorrow for the West Allegheny boys soccer team, led by head coach Kevin Amos and company. 2nd down and goal coming up for West Allegheny. The ball is at the 4-yard line. We'll see what West Allegheny pulls out of its arsenal. Looks like it'll be Nico Flatty who will take this direct snap. He's already had 3 touchdowns on the season, but fumbled twice last week in the win against Hampton. Both are in similar situations inside of opponent territory. Flatty to the left. Flatty is brought down by a host of Wolverines again. Michael Lucas again bringing him down. Michael Lucas has been everywhere on the defensive line.
You have to wonder how these TV timeouts affect the rhythm of both offenses. We've seen multiple TV timeouts, and you have to wonder what that does in the sense of affecting rhythm.
West Allegheny is the best in the conference on 3rd down conversions. They have converted 42% on 3rd down. The defense of Woodland Hills, they're one of the best in the Allegheny 9, only 2nd best behind West Allegheny, letting opponents convert 23% of the time. Tyler Gallant will take it from the 3 on a 3rd and goal. Gallant up the middle, fights his way forward, and Gallant will spin his way into the end zone for the West Allegheny touchdown. Tyler Gallant follows his blockers up the middle, finds a crease, exploits it, and gets in for 6. West Allegheny with a 6-0 lead with 8 minutes and 57 seconds to go. in the second quarter. And here comes the extra point attempt from Colby Stouts. He missed one last week against Hampton. His third miss of the season. Good snap from Hogue. Good hold from Ledford as Denard jumps over Ledford. Could be a penalty, but no call made. And the extra point attempt by Colby Stout is up and good. It's now 7-0 West Allegheny on top of Woodland Hills. West Allegheny capitalizes off of the interception thrown by Daniel Jones to Noah Ledford, and the Indians, well, they take advantage, as I said.
West Allegheny really weathering the storm. They're using that trio of running backs to kind of cope for missing Will Weber. You saw Tyler Gallant getting into the end zone there. Impressive start for the Indians. They still have a little bit of sloppiness, but from both teams. But both teams have recovered nicely. You'll see here Tyler Gallant getting the snap, going straight up the middle and getting into the end zone. Great blocking by the offensive line, led by Zach Hogue right there.
That play doesn't happen if the right tackle, Sebastian Ricketts, doesn't get that great kick-out block on the defensive end, Joshua Rawlings. And Gallant can thank the offensive line and Ricketts and company for that touchdown run of 3 yards. Gallant scoring his fourth touchdown, but more importantly gives West Allegheny a 7-0 lead over the Woodland Hills Wolverines. Colby Stout will kick it away following the TV timeout again taken. Thanks to the crew of the 22, the point crew that are covering the game for Channel 22. Back deep for Woodland Hills momentarily is Nas Taylor, Rodney Denard, and Jaquan Smith. The road ahead for West Allegheny, well, next week it's the final game of the season, in the regular season at least. They take on the Moon Tigers, about 15 minutes away from Moon Stadium. We'll let you know later on in the week if we will be broadcasting that game. If we do so, it'll be me and Mitch Montani on the call for you. And then after that, we'll wait and see what the playoff committee has in store for West Allegheny going forward. Here comes the kickoff from Colby Stouts. And this one is a squibber again. It is taken by Eric Oliver, and this time no big return for Woodland Hills as Oliver is wrestled down immediately by Paul Fedorka and Miko Flatty. First down and 10, Woodland Hills from its own 43-yard line, trying to avoid a similar result to last time, which was an interception thrown by Daniel Jones.
Yeah, we'll see the adjustments they make here. A couple of rash decisions made by Daniel Jones so far. He's thrown into the double coverage or triple coverage multiple times in this game so far. Let's see what the game plan is here.
Looks like Anthony Meredith will remain in the backfield. Meredith has rushed for 252 yards over the past couple of weeks in the absence of Rodney Denard. But Jones drops back again, throwing to the right side. Wide open is Nas Taylor, and Taylor is strung out of bounds on the far side of the field for another first down for Woodland Hills.
Told you again, he'll be calling his name a lot. A little nice out route there from Nas Taylor, and Jones finds him right in the flat.
Taylor had one-on-one coverage with the reserve linebacker Paul Fedorka, and that's a mismatch, especially with an inexperienced linebacker like Fedorka, and Taylor took advantage. Once again, it's 1st and 10. Now ball is in West State territory to the 43. You got two receivers to the left side, and Meredith is the lone setback standing at midfield. Jones hands off Anthony Meredith up the middle. A tribe of Indians makes the tackle at the 40-yard line. That's Nate Vislowski and Brent Mangold on the stop for a 3-yard pickup, making it 2nd down and 7. Ball is 40 yards away from a potentially tie game. Woodland Hills has one of the best rushing offenses in the Allegheny 9. They average 207 rushing yards a game and 20 rushing touchdowns. But the passing game, not so much. 56 yards a game, and have only scored 3 touchdowns. And here's another pass from Daniel Jones. He throws to Nas Taylor, and Taylor is worked on by Fedorka again. This one looks like it just hit off of his palm. It's 3rd down.
Yeah, Nas Taylor frustrated with himself there. He has to bring that ball in. A good throw from Jones, but Taylor was unable to bring it in.
I'm going to set up another 3rd down for Woodland Hills, something that the Wolverines have struggled with all game long, as we have 8 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the first half, as New substitution comes in for West Allegheny. It's Drayvon Baldwin, who transferred here just a couple of weeks ago from Woodland Hills, so it'll be interesting to see how Baldwin matches up against his former teammates. Jones hands off. Anthony Meredith up the middle. And Meredith tried to act as if he wasn't down, and he gets ruled down at the 35-yard line. And this is probably four down territory for Woodland Hills. It's a 4th and short from the 35. The West State defense brings everybody. On a 4th and 2, you could expect possibly a run from Anthony Meredith, who hasn't had a breakout run but has gotten enough yardage to keep the offense rolling. But defensive coordinator Brian Cornell wants a timeout. That'll be the first call by West Allegheny, and it comes with 7 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the first half. The Woodland Hills Wolverines are led by first-year head coach Tim Boster, but he's been with the program for the last 12 seasons under legendary head coach George Novak. He took over after original head coach Kevin Murray resigned during heat acclimation week. Murray faced, of course, 2 major controversies as not only the coach at Woodland Hills, but the principal of Woodland Hills High School, and said during the summer workouts that he hoped to limit distractions. And Boster right now is the assistant to athletic director Ronald Corsi. He's a Woodland Hills alum, and George Novak commends him for basically getting the head coaching position. Novak said, and I quote, "He deserves it. He's been with the program for 12 years. He knows all aspects of the game."
Yeah, multiple-time Whitfield champion George Novak. Last title coming in 2009.
Novak was inducted into the WPIAL Hall of Fame this past year. I met him during the WPIAL championships last season, actually during the West Allegheny McKeesport game. Such a great guy as well. He's just as good as advertised, and George Novak, one of the best coaches, at least I know, around the Western Pennsylvania area. He's certainly missed, not just by Woodland Hills, but all around the WPIAL. Actually, as a matter of fact, Novak, whenever Murray resigned, was asked if he wanted to come back and coach at least one more season, but he wouldn't budge, and that led to Tim Boster taking over as head coach. He was formerly the offensive line coach and spent the last 12 seasons in the press box, as a matter of fact. It's 4th down and 2 for Woodland Hills, ball at the 35-yard line. We'll see how the West State defense holds on 4th and 2. Jones bobbles the snap. It's picked up by West Allegheny, but it doesn't matter. The Indians hold on another 4th and short. The recovery made was by Anthony Delavade, as Jones just couldn't handle the snap, tipped it up in the air, and Delavade plucked it out of the sky.
Very consistent with these miscues. Once again, another bobbled snap. Anthony Delavade jumps on top of it, and it's West State ball, and they have some decent field position starting on their own 35-yard line going forward.
So Woodland Hills already has 3 turnovers on the day, if you count the turnover on downs. Of course, an interception thrown by Daniel Jones, and right there you saw Anthony Delavade recovering the fumble, but Will Weber returns to the game after being shaken up a drive ago. Weber takes a direct snap, hesitates, goes forward, and Delavade is wrapped down at the 43-yard line. Making the stop was Nas Taylor. That'll set up a 2nd down and a long 2 from inside the 42 and 43-yard lines.
Good to see Will Weber back in there after being injured earlier in the game. It makes that West Allegheny offense that much more explosive.
Will Weber will join Anthony Delavade over at Duquesne University. He committed there a couple of weeks ago, actually right before the Upper St. Clair game. Anthony Delavade committing during week 4 on that Tuesday, as a matter of fact. 2nd down and short. Weber again in the Wildcat QB. He runs to the right, avoids the pressure, at least tries to, as Michael Roman tackles him hard. West Allegheny wants a horse collar penalty, but they're not going to get it.
Yeah, Bob Palco being frustrated there. The tackle was very high, up around the face mask, horse collar, as you mentioned, area, and West Allegheny fans showed their displeasure after that play.
Let's see a replay and see if that's a horse collar.
Got him on the face mask.
Right on the face mask. The tackle was clean. He dragged him by the jersey, but that should have been a face mask call as he grasped the face mask on the tackle.
Bob Palco, every right to be upset on that call.
On a 3rd down and 4, this is Cam Cruz in the shotgun. He rolls left. Cruz throws back. Brent Mangle on the reception. Has his blockers down on the right side. He picks up the first down, being strung out by Michael Coleman at the 45.
Bryce Manley throwing a fantastic block on that screen. Ended up getting the first down. Beautiful execution on that play.
Another play they've been practicing, kind of as some trickery. Cruz acts as if he's throwing left, leaves Brent Mangold wide open. Josh Rawlings was the only one who read it, but he was well behind the play. And West Allegheny picks up big yardage there. It's 1st and 10 from the Woodland Hills 45.
We saw both Hogue and Manley getting out on the block, and great job by West Allegheny.
Weber again. As the Wildcat position, he runs up the middle. Weber weaves his way through traffic. Down to the 30, takes an awkward slide down to the 32. He's going to be okay, and he's also going to pick up a West Allegheny first down. Rodney Denard, the safety, comes up and makes the tackle. West Allegheny is in business again. They're on the move down to the 33. Will Weber's been tremendous in his game back from injury. He was shaken up a little bit, but now it looks like he's not necessarily back to 100%, but he's at least back to lead West Allegheny on another drive. They're down to the 33. This is Nico Flatty who will take the snap. That is after the timeout taken by West Allegheny. The Indians now have 1 timeout left as the clock stands with 4 minutes and 43 seconds to go until halftime.
West Allegheny running the ball very efficiently. They might not even need the rest of that 4:43 to get into the end zone. They're looking to conserve maybe that last timeout before the half.
Other games going on around the Allegheny 9 Conference. We haven't got to that recently, so we'll hit on that right now. In conference play, we have the Hampton Talbots taking on the number 4 ranked Upper St. Clair Panthers. The number 8 Fox Chapel Foxes are at the Chartiers Valley Colts, and for Fox Chapel, it's win and get in. They can make the playoffs for the first time in seemingly forever with a win tonight at Chartiers Valley. And finally, the Baldwin Highlanders are over in Moon Township. They're taking on the Tigers, a team in which West Allegheny will see next week over at Moon Tiger Stadium. But also, in out-of-conference action, North Hills plays host to the Franklin Regional Panthers. And that's going to be a fun one. Not necessarily one of the games to watch, but for North Hills, that'll be a fun game, at least in terms of competition, considering that the Big East Conference is loaded with talent. 1st and 10 from the 33. This is Nico Flatty running to the right side. Avoids Roman, but he's strung out by Brevard down to the 29-yard line. That'll set up a 2nd down and 6 for West Allegheny after the run by freshman Nico Flatty, the transfer from Hopewell High School. He moved here during his 7th grade season. Flatty last week in the win against Hampton became the first freshman West Allegheny running back to have over 100 yards since Doran Dickerson in 2002. Flatty again, runs to the left, gets a block from Takis. Gets the 1st and more, but a holding call will be tagged against Anthony Takis, and that'll back West Allegheny up 10 yards. So what will be a 1st down will turn into a 2nd down and 5 from the 28 as an easy holding call right in front of Tony Lascola off of the fullback Anthony Takis.
If there's anything positive that comes out of anything that's going on today in the run game for West Allegheny, it's that Woodland Hills is really struggling to tackle both Will Weber and Nico Flatty and Tyler Gallant for that matter. Woodland Hills struggling in that aspect of the game, and it's allowed West Allegheny to run the ball very effectively.
2nd and 5 from the 28 for West Allegheny. after the holding call committed against the Indians. That's the first penalty assessed against West Allegheny. There hasn't been many penalties in between now and the second drive of the game, which Woodland Hills had a false start on the left tackle, Andre Hilliard. But ever since then, pretty clean affair from both teams, and this has turned into a competitive rivalry. Both teams love playing each other. They bring the best out of each other. This is Nico Flatty up the middle, and Flatty is brought down from behind. Eric Oliver shedding the block of Anthony Takis and limits Flatty to a 2-yard gain. It's third down. We'll call it 3 from the 26-yard line. Tyrell Barlow was a little bit slow to get up, but looks like he was adjusting something up with his shoe. Nico Flatty last week, as you see, he had 16 carries on 102 yards. Had 2 touchdowns last week, but he did fumble twice. He's fumbled 3 times this season, but all 3 coming in the last 2 weeks, so Flatty has to work on his ball security going forward. 3rd and 3, you'll see your first carry from junior Mateo Vandamia. And Vandamia has nothing doing there. Michael Roman challenges Vandamia on the play, brings him down for a loss. Join alongside Michael Coleman, and it's a 4th and 5 situation.
We'll see if they consider this 4-down territory. West Allegheny, known for their potent running game. I think they can pick up the yardage. Let's see what they decide to do here at 4-down territory, as I mentioned.
This is out of Colby Stout's field goal range. His career long is only 28 yards. And attempting it from here will be a 45-yarder. Will Weber leads his offense out. Keep in mind, on the year, Will Weber is 9 for 9 passing. He hands off to Cam Cruz. Cruz throws back to Weber. It's tipped by Rawlings, but Weber completes the pass. But he's brought down in the backfield by Sidney Summers for a loss of 1, and more importantly, a turnover on downs.
We saw West Allegheny try this play earlier. Cam Cruz rolling out to his left, trying to goat the Woodland Hills defense into covering the man on the left side, and he ended up throwing back towards the right side to Will Weber. Unfortunately, Woodland Hills read it like a book.
So Woodland Hills takes over from its own 30-yard line, and 1st and 10. We'll see our first action from reserve cornerback Paul Newton, the transfer from Keystone Oaks. Whitehurst in motion. The handoff up the middle goes to Jaquan Smith. And Jaquan Smith is tackled in the backfield. Brent Mangold and Mateo Vandamia combined for the tackle. That's a gain of maybe 1 by the senior Jaquan Smith. Smith is, at least in my opinion, one of the most underrated running backs in all of the WPIAL. He's rushed 66 times for 377 yards and is 12th in the WPIAL in terms of rushing. At least in the Allegheny 9, that is. 2nd and 9. Daniel Jones has trouble with the snap. Runs up the middle, tries to avoid the pressure, gets a block from DeVega Bird. West Day wants a block in the back call, and they'll get it on the right tackle, DeVega Bird.
Having some more trouble with the snap was Daniel Jones there. Daniel Jones has seemed to really struggle with this game with that.
Daniel Jones, for a period of time, didn't play quarterback for Woodland Hills. It was Mike Whitehurst, which they both had a very lengthy QB battle last season, in which Daniel Jones finally got the win in the QB battle last year in Week 7. Whereas this season, Woodland Hills has lived and died by their starting quarterback position, whether it be Daniel Jones at quarterback, Mike Whitehurst at quarterback. The point stands, they haven't switched out a quarterback once this season. Once they have a starting QB, they stick with it. As you see on the replay, DeVega Bird getting the block in the back on Vandamia. And talking with one of the officials from the PIAA, at least earlier on in the season, the best way to judge a block in the back, as a matter of fact, is how the beneficiary falls. If he falls on his stomach, more than likely it's going to be a block in the back. And as you see there, Vandamia fell right on his stomach. Second and long. To be exact, it's 28 yards to go as a penalty is taken, or a timeout is taken by West Allegheny as soon as I can learn how to talk right. The Indians are out of timeouts with 1:33 to go in the half. Woodland Hills has the ball from the 12-yard line. But yeah, as I was saying, I believe I said this wrong, but the best way to tell if a block in the back call will be made is if the person being blocked lands on his stomach. So if it's anywhere from beyond the shoulder pad, beyond the hip, I should say, and he lands on his stomach, that's a block in the back.
As we know, officiating is very arbitrary. It's hard. I assume it would be easier to call a block in the back than a hold, because the hold, there's so much jersey grabbing going on. But when you get a block in the back, it's usually happens on either a punt return, a kick return. It's very likely to happen. But we saw there, it was clear. The Vega Bird, he went right into the back of two West Allegheny players, and it was a blatant block in the back call.
De Vega Bird last season was the first-team all-conference offensive tackle. One of the only juniors that made all-conference on the offensive line, and is also the heaviest offensive lineman that starts for any team in the Allegheny 9. He stands at 6'2", 322 pounds. Back to live action, second down and 28 from the 12. As a botched snap again, it's loose on the carpet, and it's recovered on the play by West Allegheny. The ball rolled right into the waiting hands of Isaiah Crow. Woodland Hills turns the ball over yet again, and this time it could prove detrimental. They're inside the 20.
Maybe some communications issues right there between the center and the quarterback, Jones. Jones, as we've mentioned repeatedly throughout this broadcast, having a lot of trouble with the snaps. As you see, having trouble with the snap. The ball gets kicked all the way back to the 27-yard line. And West Allegheny, great field position and a huge opportunity with 1:28 left.
First and 10, West Allegheny. Ball is at the 19-yard line. The Indians are already up 7-0, and if they go up by another score before the half runs out, that'd be a huge momentum boost heading into the half. Gallant fakes to Vandamia, gives it off to Jake Davis running to the right, and Davis is brought down for a big loss by Anthony Meredith. A double reverse attempt by Davis, and it's not very successful.
Bob Palco digging deep into the playbook, trying a little trickery, and it did not work there, but we've seen him multiple times try to go to either a reverse or any type of trick play like that.
West Allegheny will go no huddle. Cam Cruz in the shotgun. Tries the hard count, and he has three receivers to the left, one to the right, and Isaiah Crow. He's being matched up by, looks like, Nas Taylor. Cruz looks right the whole way, throws it to Crow. Crow bobbles it. Does he hold on in bounds? No, he doesn't. He juggled it, heading out of bounds. So Isaiah Crow couldn't hang on before getting his foot out of bounds. So West Allegheny will have a third down and 12.
That would have been large. One, he would have picked up the first down, and two, the clock would have stopped, giving West Allegheny time to huddle up and run another play.
The clock stops regardless on the incomplete pass. The clock says 40 seconds remaining in the half. As Cam Cruz looks like we'll get another shot, depending on what they decide to call. Pay attention to the left side. You have Davis, Ledford, and Vandamia on the left side, and Isaiah Crow's on the right. Cruz looks to Crow's side the whole way, and Cruz falls down, being matched up by Michael Coleman. So the field goal unit will come out on the field. Colby Stout will attempt a career-long field goal attempt. This one about 38 yards from the right seam. This is one of the... If Colby Stout can make this would be probably the biggest field goal in his career. But Stout struggled on field goals. He's 4 for 6 this season. Snap good, hold good, but the field goal is blocked by Jaden Lucas. Woodland Hills takes over from the 30-yard line after the blocked field goal by Jaden Lucas.
Nothing Stout can do there. Just the offensive line getting pushed back, and they ended up getting a field goal blocked. I was watching Stout earlier in practice, or earlier in warm-ups, today, and he was putting them through with some good leg power today. I don't think it's an issue of leg power at all. It's just an issue where he can get it right down the middle.
So Stout now goes 4 for 7 on field goals this season, and Woodland Hills will try to go 70 yards in 30 seconds to tie this up. Jones hands off. Rodney Denard up the middle. And Denard is stuffed. Anthony Delavay clogs the middle. Nico Flatty helps finish off the tackle at the 31 to make it 2nd and 9. Make it 2nd and 8 from the 32, as it looks like that'll be the final play. Woodland Hills' bench is clearing out and will trot over to the locker room. So Woodland Hills commits several mistakes as West Allegheny capitalizes off of an interception by Tyler Gallant, and it was capped off by a 3-yard Tyler Gallant touchdown run. While West Allegheny, on the other hand, they've gotten a lot of turnovers from Woodland Hills. You had 2 fumbles and an interception. So turnovers have been the key to the game thus far.
Woodland Hills very fortunate to only be down 7-0 in this game. They've committed a lot of mistakes. They've had a lot of trouble snapping the ball from the center to the quarterback. We've seen multiple fumbles by Daniel Jones so far, multiple bobbled snaps. Woodland Hills, if they want to stay in this game, they need to tighten it up a little bit on the offensive side of the football, not commit as many egregious mistakes.
7-0 at the half, West Allegheny on top. But a theme that we've seen in the past is that West Allegheny hasn't been able to seal the deal. They struggle in one half and do very, very well in the second. Let's see if that trend will continue in half number 2. Stay tuned as the West Allegheny and Woodland Hills Marching Prize will perform the halftime show on the West Allegheny Sports Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2017 Woodland Hills High School Marching Band and Images Visual Ensemble under the field direction of drum majors A.J. Prestigeorge, Sydney Moore, and Jyanne Denson. Tonight's performance contains music from Tony Award-winning musical Miss Saigon. Music in tonight's performance includes The Heat Is On and The Fall of Saigon. All of our performances this season are dedicated to all members of the armed forces who have served this country with distinction. Thank you for your service.
Test.
Drum Major A.J. Prestigeorge, is your band ready? Woodland Hills, you may take the field for tonight's performance. The band is under the direction of Mr. Brian Hopkins. Assistant directors are Mr. Kevin Shaw and Miss Terry Zorner. Visual consultants are Thomas Crone and Vicky Reichert. Image instructors are Amber Riley, David Peters, and Ann Wynn, and Sue Delanco. Mallet instructor is Miss Michelle Zollner. Wind instructors are Miss Laura Hartrick, Miss Katie Miller, Miss Beth Priori, and Mr. Dale Hartrick. Assistant percussion instructors are Cisco Rios and Brittany Workin. Image captains are Gabby Covington, Maya Jackson, and Julia Zielinski. My name is Kevin Tinsley. Thank you for your attention, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2017 West Allegheny Marching Band Halftime Show. Our show theme this year is School of Rock and features music by Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Led Zeppelin. Our band is under the field leadership of seniors Evan Armstrong and Katie Borgo. Our opening number was written by Steven Tyler and was debuted in 1973. We will feature horn soloist Abby Leslie as we perform Aerosmith's Dream On. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy our show, School of Rock. Our second number was released in August of 1988 and was Guns N' Roses' only song to top the Billboard Hot 100 chart. Now we will perform Sweet Child of Mine featuring trumpet soloist Michael Cosmic. Heavy metal song of all time by VH1. Ladies and gentlemen, Metallica's Master of Puppets.
We will end our show this evening with the song that was voted number 3 in VH1's list of the 100 greatest rock songs of all time. This song will feature trumpet soloist Morgan Swayze, another trumpet soloist, Alex Berhosky, and trombone soloist, Aaron Berg. Ladies and gentlemen, Stairway to Heaven. The band would like to thank the West Allegheny Administration and School Board for their continued support, including the brand new uniforms that the band and color guard are wearing this evening. We hope you enjoyed our show. Enjoy the second half of the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, some scores at halftime around the 5A classification. In the Allegheny 9, Upper St. Clair leads Hampton 14-7. Fox Chapel on top of Chartiers Valley, 13-6. And Moon leads Baldwin 16-2. And out of conference action, North Hills and Franklin Regional are tied at 7. Big game in the Big East Conference. Gateway 14, McKeesport 11.
Okay, thank you very much for tonight's game broadcast on the West Allegheny Network. Broadcast by Ryan Conline, along with Dan Hickson. Great job on broadcasting the game over the internet. This time we want to announce the winners of the 50-50 raffle and also the football boosters $1,000 drawing. So let's do that first. The winning numbers for the football boosters $1,000 numbers are 1250 and 4459. We'll put them on the screen. And the winner of the 50-50 raffle gets a white ticket. If you have this white ticket, go down to the refreshment and pick up cash dollars, $848. White ticket. The winner is 810002. 810002. Refreshment stand. And we would like to also at this time recognize all they do for the West Allegheny football program. They are a premier program. The officers here, Bill Russell, is the president. Christine Schultz-Herberger is the vice president. Gary Ross is the treasurer. Diane Downing is the secretary. So hats off to the West Allegheny Football Boosters Club.
Seven to nothing is the score. At halftime, West Allegheny jumped out to a 7-0 lead with just a shade under 9 minutes to go in the half after a 3-yard touchdown scamper from Tyler Gallant off the left side that was sprung by the interception thrown by Daniel Jones to senior safety Noah Ledford. West Allegheny dominating in pretty much all facets of the game thus far, but the theme all year has been West Allegheny struggles in one half and dominates the other. In this case, they pretty much dominated the first half, and then the second half is we'll wait and see what happens there. But taking a look at the halftime stats, take a look at the rushing yards. West Allegheny has 115 rushing yards. Woodland Hills has only had 11, and that's led by the 18 yards by Anthony Meredith. And Woodland Hills has turned the ball over 3 times. 4 if you include the turnover on downs deep in the West Allegheny end of the field. And West Allegheny defensively has put on a clinic against the Woodland Hills offense.
Woodland Hills has played some really sloppy football that first half. As you see on the graphic, 3 turnovers in the first half alone. Daniel Jones threw one interception into double coverage to Ledford in the middle of the quarter, and that ended up leading to Tyler Gallant galloping into the end zone for the lone score of the game. Woodland Hills needs to clean it up if they want to stay in this game. West Allegheny has dominated them in the trenches, and if West Allegheny continues to play like they play, it may get out of hand very quickly.
West Allegheny's on top 7-0, and considering that last year was a 52-13 drubbing of Woodland Hills, I guess you can say that is an improvement for Woodland Hills, but in terms of yards, the Wolverines haven't really been able to do anything, especially considering that their 2 touchdowns last season came in the first quarter off of a pair of Saeed Holt touchdown runs, one from the first play of the game from 63 yards out and another from 21 yards out towards the beginning of quarter number 2. But West Allegheny jumped out to a 31-13 lead at halftime last season against Woodland Hills. You're taking a look at the box score of the semifinal game that occurred 3 weeks after the Week 8 game between West A and Woodland Hills. The Indians were led by a dominant passing game. The West Allegheny Indians last season passed for a combined 230 passing yards, the second best in the Nick Ross era. The first best was the week following, which was a 294-yard performance in the WPIAL championship game against McKeesports. The Tigers are primed for a Whitfield championship repeats. That is, if they can get past the Gateway Gators tonight. It is 14-11, the score there from Monroeville, Pennsylvania, in a rivalry game. But we're set to start Half number 2, Chucky Hanchett, the junior, will see his first action of the night. Back deep to receive for West Allegheny. Nico Flatty and Tyler Gallant, they stand at about the 7 and 8 yard lines. West Allegheny will look to get off to a good start in the second half as this ball trundles into the waiting arms of Jake Davis. And Davis is hit hard immediately. The ball squirts free, and West Allegheny was there to pick up the pieces down to the 30-yard line. Tyler Gallant was in the right place at the right time as the ball was fumbled by Jake Davis. And the Indians will start 1st and 10 from their own 30. That could have been disastrous to begin the second half for West Allegheny, and for the Wolverines, they need to get something going, and that was the best chance they've had probably all game.
It would have been a large momentum swing for Woodland Hills to start in West Allegheny's territory at the half. Luckily, Tyler Gallant was right there to man on the scene to pick up the ball.
1st and 10 from the 30-yard line for West Allegheny. This is Will Weber in the shotgun formation. Weber fakes to Flatty and runs up the middle. And he runs into a wall of Woodland Hills Wolverines. He gets suplexed back to the 33 by Micah Lucas, and we have a late flag. Some extracurriculars going on between Brent Mangold and Sidney Summers, and we'll wait to see what this 15-yard penalty, or who this 15-yard penalty will be assessed against.
Personal foul. 2. The defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So Sidney Summers gets
Personal
charged
foul
with
is the
a
call by
personal
the
foul
officials
on
against
Brent
the
Mangold, hitting him late after the play, and
15-yard penalty
the
will be
Wolverines give up
assessed.
15 free yards on addition to the 2-yard run by Weber.
Not the start Woodland Hills wanted at all. West Allegheny has already effectively moved the ball down the field, especially on the ground, and now Woodland Hills moves themselves back with an undisciplined penalty, 15 yards.
Ball is now.
So it's 1st and
at the
10, West Allegheny from the
47-yard
W
line.
in the WA logo at midfield. Ball spotted at the 47. Will Weber again leads his offense out. He's 9 for 9, also passing for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. Make that 3 touchdowns, as a matter of fact. 1st and 10, Will Weber up the middle, and again he has nothing going on offensively. Weber is met by Micah Lucas and company. Lucas has been a dominant force lining up at defensive tackle against the center and left guard, Zach Hoog and Spencer Mason, respectively. And Lucas has been very, very difficult to block, and he's certainly, his stock is certainly rising after this game. He took some visits to Penn State last year and took part in the Youngstown State Camp over the summer.
Woodland Hills.
2nd down and 10 from West Allegheny's 47-yard line. Weber tosses to Flatty on the pitch, and Flatty runs over Rodney Denard as he carries the pile to the 46-yard line. A hard-earned 7 yards by the freshman Nico Flatty.
As I mentioned earlier in this game, Bob Palco using multiple. I'll let you get back to the play call as they go quickly up to the line here, Brandon. I'll mention my comment later.
3rd down, 3.
Anyways, it's 3rd and 3 from the 46. West Allegheny looks to convert on 3rd down once again. Weber running to the left, eludes the pressure, but Nas Taylor brings him down in West State territory. Taylor sheds a block and brings him down for a 4-yard loss. It's 4th down.
On a 3rd down.
But as you were saying, Sam,
4th down.
As I was saying earlier, Bob Palco's really digging deep into the playbook, pulling out multiple trick plays, reverses, jet sweeps, cross-field passes. It's been a lot of trickery today for Bob Palco and West Allegheny's offense.
the punt team gets sent out on the first drive of the second half. Not the start that West Allegheny's offense was looking for. Zach Hogue will snap it to punter Colby Stouts. Nobody's on the right side of Hogue on the offensive line, and they're going to rely on the second line of West Allegheny blockers to contain Woodland Hills. And Stout with a running punt hits off of the back of Kyle Guilfoyle, and the ball will be ruled down where Guilfoyle had the ball touched on him, which was the 27-yard line.
On the punt, the officials will mark it at the Wolverine 27-yard line.
Woodland Hills will start at its own 27, 1st and 10. The Wolverines got off to a good start defensively. Despite the 15-yard penalty on the first play of the second half, the Wolverines clamped down defensively and held West Allegheny in the middle of the field. Woodland Hills will take over from the 27 as we are going to have another timeout taken.
We have a television timeout on the field.
For
Media timeout on
TV
the field.
purposes. 9:22 to play in quarter number 3. Woodland Hills looks to tie this game up at 7-all with West Allegheny. The winner of this game gets home field advantage and second place in the Allegheny 9. Huge implications, and this will certainly help the winning team's playoff seedings heading into the playoffs in 2 weeks' time. But some other scores around the Allegheny 9 Conference. As you saw earlier on, the graphic put up by our wonderful Dakota Lamb and Company. Upper St. Clair is on top of Hampton, 14-7, while Fox Chapel leads Chartiers Valley 13-6. If Fox Chapel defeats the Colts, more than likely Fox Chapel pretty much locks up a playoff seed, as North Hills is in a non-conference game, and they would need Fox Chapel to lose in order for North Hills to qualify as the 4th team out of the Allegheny 9. Meanwhile, Moon leads Baldwin 16-2, and Franklin Regional and North Hills are tied at 7. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line as Jones hands off. This is Jaquan Smith bouncing to the outside, and Smith tries to get the angle. We got a late flag down as the hit was made by Vislowski, just enough for Ledford to finish the tackle.
J1 Smith, the ball
The
carrier,
general
number
indication
10.
is that this is a 15-yard penalty assessed against West Allegheny.
31,
We'll wait
Nick-
from the official call
Nick
from our
Vislowski, the
head
stop.
referee, Tony Lascala. His umpire is Dustin Woodward. The linesman
Personal
is
foul.
Darren Bauer.
Face mask. Defense.
As we get a 15-yard
15-yard
face mask against West
result.
Allegheny.
It's a first down.
The line judge is Kevin Malone.
Personal foul called
Field
against
judge
West
is
Allegheny.
Dave Wojcik, and
15-yard
side judge
penalty will be
is
assessed.
John McGorian.
Pair of personal fouls to start off the half for either
First
team.
down 10 for
Now
the
West
Wolverines.
Allegheny's turn to respond
At their
to
own
their
48-yard
15-yard
line.
penalty.
1st and 10 from the Woodland Hills 48-yard line, led by Daniel Jones, the inspired quarterback who is playing in honor of his late brother Jeremiah, who was unfortunately killed over the summer. Daniel Jones switched from number 2 to number 6 in honor of his older brother Jeremiah. But Jones hands off. Again, Jaquan Smith running to the left. Picks up a hard-earned 7 yards as he's strung down by
Jaquan
Kyle
Smith, number
Guilfoyle at
10.
the 45-yard line. Pick up a
Carries.
7 and gets into West Allegheny territory. On a
Number
2nd
21,
and 3,
Kyle
the Wolverines
Guilfoyle made the stop.
look to tie this game up at 7. And they can do so if they march
Gain of about
45 yards
7.
down the field.
2nd down 3 at the WA 45.
Woodland Hills offensively hasn't really had anything going, and they'll look to change their fortunes with this drive tonight. Jones under center. He gives it to Smith, and Jaquan Smith bobbled up in the backfield.
Smith again gets the handoff.
Anthony
stopped
Delavade
at
makes
the
the
line of
stop.
scrimmage.
The outside linebacker on the blitz goes virtually unblocked and brings him down for a 1-yard loss.
Seen Smith get his number
Anthony
called
Delavade,
multiple
the initial
times
hit for West
to start this
Allegheny.
drive for Woodland Hills. This has been about the only time Woodland Hills has even been able to run the ball effectively down the field, and it's all come off of Smith's feet.
Defensive coordinator
Third down.
Brian Cornell likes what he sees out of his stud linebacker Anthony Delavade. He leads the team in tackles. But he would like it even more if West Allegheny's defense can hold him in this 3rd and 4. Jones to Smith, and Smith fumbles the ball again. West
the
Allegheny
ball
signals they
carrier.
have it, and they do.
An errant football is picked up by West Allegheny.
That's Noah Ledford recovering the football at the 41-yard line. The 4th turnover committed by Woodland Hills, 3rd by fumble. And it's 1st and 10 West Allegheny. Another mistake gives West Allegheny the ball right back.
Woodland Hills continues to shoot themselves in the foot with turnovers. Let's take a look at the replay here. As Smith gets the ball, goes up the middle, he is hit, and the ball pops out. West Allegheny once again on the scene to recover it, and Woodland Hills continues to make mistakes.
1st down 10, WA.
Woodland Hills has committed 13 turnovers
own
heading into this
41-yard
game. That's
line.
their 4th overall in this game. And we're not even halfway through the 3rd quarter. As Weber tosses to Flatty on the jet sweep, and Flatty loses the ball again. Correction, no, he was brought down to the 47. The West Allegheny faithful on the near side wanted the face mask as Rodney Denard came charging in,
Go
making the
Flatty.
stop.
Carries for
to
the
make it a
Indians.
2nd down and 4. A good game by
Pick up of about
Flatty,
5
which
yards.
West Allegheny wanted
2nd down,
15 more
5.
tacked on after what
All at the WA 47.
appeared to be from the West Allegheny faithful a face mask, but it was hard to tell from just the speed of how everything was moving. 2nd down, this time the toss again to Flatty, and Flatty is hit hard
Flatty
by
again
Denard,
takes the
picking up the
handoff.
first down for West Allegheny to the 48-yard line.
He will pick up the 5
defensive
yards,
struggle.
good enough for a West Allegheny first
offensive struggle
down.
from both teams as West Allegheny has substantially outgained Woodland Hills on the ground especially. They moved the ball to the 48. But really, the only points came off of a nice run by Tyler Gallant, setting up a 3-yard run by the senior. First down and 10 from the 48. This is Weber in the Wildcat quarterback position. Weber hesitates, runs left, and he can't escape Anthony Meredith, who brings him down for a 3-yard loss. Meredith
Weber
went unblocked from the
trying the
outside
left side.
linebacker position.
Brought down
And
for
Will
a
Weber
loss on the play.
hesitated just too much, and you can tell his step is a little bit gimpy after suffering the sprained ankle a few weeks ago.
Number 5, Anthony Meredith, making the stop.
2nd down and 13 from the West Allegheny 49-yard line.
2nd down,
Ball spotted
13.
in the W
For the Indians.
of the West Allegheny logo at midfield. Again, Weber will go in the Wildcat position. He leads the team in rushing with 52 yards on the day. Weber tosses to Van Damien. He's hit hard in the backfield. Michael Roman shutting out the block of Colby
Weber's
Stout,
pass goes
drilling
to
the junior in the backfield.
Van
And
Damien.
West Allegheny loses 2.
However, it'll be a loss on the play. It'll bring up a 3rd down
A
for the
beautiful
Indians.
shut of the block by the junior Michael Roman, stopping Van Damien immediately upon catching the ball. Make it 3rd down.
3rd down, 15.
You see here on the replay, this was from the fumble from Jaquan Smith, recovered by West Allegheny, which sets us up where we are now, 3rd and 15 from the 47.
So that's some pre-snap movement.
Yes, Sam, we have a flag thrown.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
5-yard
First
penalty
pre-snap
being
penalty
assessed.
assessed on West Allegheny, making it 3rd down and long for the Indians.
3rd down, 20
To be
for
exact,
West
there's
Allegheny.
21 yards to go for the first.
Ball
They
at
need
the
to get down to the
WA 42.
Woodland Hills 38, and this is almost certainly a passing down.
It's only speculation. You wonder what would have happened if West Allegheny had gotten that 15-yard face mask penalty early on in this drive that they were seemingly wanting.
Look for Cruz to look for Van Damien. He's matched up with the linebacker, Michael Roman. And Cruz instead throws it deep to Jake Davis, and Davis is nearly intercepted by Rodney Denard, who came charging down the middle of the field, Malik Hooker style, and Jake Davis unable to hold on.
Excellent closing speed there by Rodney Denard. Davis was open for the most part down the sideline. The throw was a high arcing one, and Denard made a fantastic play to get over. Great closing speed.
Denard is a Division
Long
I
pass
prospect
intended for
at
Davis, will
safety,
go
and you
incomplete
see
and bring up
why
a 4th
on that
down for
play.
the
Just
Indians.
excellent closing speed, getting to the ball, seemingly
Colby
at the
Stout
last
into punt
possible moment,
formation.
knocking the ball away. On a 4th and long, Colby Stout to punt. Back deep is Nas Taylor. This is a high one, but it's short. But West Allegheny will be the beneficiary of the bounce. It will trundle down to the 26-yard line.
Stout's
That's
kick
where
will
Woodland Hills
roll
will take over
to the
first and 10
26,
from
where the
26-yard
Wolverines
line.
will take over
In a
the
battle
football
for
first
second place
down.
in the Allegheny 9, and a battle for home field advantage as
Immediate
well.
time.
Woodland Hills has been unable to mount anything offensively. They've turned the ball over 4 times compared to West Allegheny's 1. West Allegheny was able to capitalize on one of the turnovers, an interception thrown by Daniel Jones to Noah Ledford. He returned it from about the 17 to about the 45 for a huge return of about 38 yards, setting up a 39-yard run by Tyler Gallant down to the 7. where West Allegheny punched it in from there on a 3rd and 3 by Tyler Gallant at the 9-minute mark of quarter number 2. And ever since then, it's been silent for both teams. They've moved the ball pretty well, getting at least 1 or 2 first downs, but other than that, nothing doing for either team.
You mentioned the playoff implications in this game. This feels like a playoff atmosphere tonight at West Allegheny High School. 7-0 game. Woodland Hills doesn't seem like they're playing the game they want to play. Turning the ball over quite a bit. A lot of mistakes, quarterback to center snapping. Woodland Hills, if they can't clean it up here, they're going to lose this game pretty swiftly.
Woodland Hills offense led by Daniel Jones comes back out on the field. Daniel Jones holds an offer from West Virginia State. His younger brother Christopher Jones also on the team as well. His older brother Jeremiah,
First
as
down
I mentioned,
10
is no
for
longer
the
with us. He
Wolverines.
was a former WVU commit before
21.
passing away in July. Jones to Denard, and Denard is stuffed. Mateo Vandamia went in on the defensive end position, making the stop for a big loss. 2nd down and 13. Vandamia knifed through the offensive line of Woodland Hills, working against the left tackle, Andre Hilliard.
For a loss.
It's 2nd and 13.
2nd down, 13.
Jones again under center with Denard in the backfield. Jones will throw. He drops back. Looking down the middle of the field, tries to escape the pressure. He throws. Pass in double coverage is incomplete to Nas Taylor.
Long pass from Jones, the quarterback,
Once again, we
intended
see
for
Daniel
Taylor.
Jones
Number 1 is
trying to
broken
stretch
up.
the field, throwing into double coverage multiple times today, and a couple of times it's been intercepted. That was probably the most time he's had to pass all game right there, and fortunately for him,
3rd down for the Wolverines.
Nas Taylor with some choice words for Isaiah Crow and company. Be interesting to see how Taylor matches up against the 6'6" corner, the tallest cornerback in the entire WPIAL.
3rd down, 13.
On a 3rd down, Paul Newton now is working against Nas Taylor. Expect Jones to target him if they decide to pass. Instead, it's a run. Denard running to the left side. Denard weaves his way through the defense. Down to the 50-yard line, has a block in Nas Taylor. And Denard is brought down to the 35-yard line by Delavade and Paul Newton. A huge gain on the ground by Rodney Denard, getting down to the 34-yard line, a 44-yard run by the senior.
Run
Some
for
excellent
the
blocks down
Wolverines.
the right side of the field by Nas Taylor specifically, springing the play down to the 34.
Rodney
stop by number 5,
Denard got a
Brett
fantastic
Mangold.
block from
First down,
DeVega
10
Bird, the right
for the
tackle,
Wolverines.
and it really sprung him for that excellent gang, and Woodland Hills is in business.
1st and 10 from the 34. Jones hands off Denard up the middle. As Flatty was working against Andre Hilliard, he stops him at the line of scrimmage to make it 2nd down, and we'll call it 9 from the 33.
Brent
Woodland Hills'
Mangold on the
offensive
tackle.
line is entirely seniors with the exception of Jeremy Thomas, who is filling in for Tyrell Barlow,
Guard
who
the
had to
ball
move to
carrier,
center
gain
after
of
Andrew
1.
Alexander was
2nd
reported
down,
unavailable for the
9.
game. Even though these are seniors, this is a particularly inexperienced line. The only returning starters, Tyrell Barlow and DeVega Bird. Bird was first-team All-Conference last season, while Tyrell Barlow was the player of the game in the Week 3 loss to Penn Trafford. We have a timeout taken on the play by head coach Tim Block, replacing
Timeout is
Kevin
called
Murray, who
by Woodland Hills.
replaced George Novak after he retired last year. But nonetheless, it'll be a 2nd and 9 for Woodland Hills when we return from the timeout taken by the Wolverines. They have 2 timeouts remaining in a 7-0 ball game. Woodland Hills has started a nice drive going on, sprung by the 44-yard run by Rodney Denard, the longest play of the game from either side. And Woodland Hills, if they can hold on to the ball, then they can make this a game again.
Well, you mentioned West Allegheny has a lot of trouble closing out games, and this is a chance to show that they can finally close out a game and show up big when they really need to here.
Almost the exact same scenario from 2 weeks ago, which was the home game against Upper St. Clair. They led by the exact same score, 7-0. Upper St. Clair marched down the field, took the lead, and then West Allegheny tied it again. West Allegheny took the lead on a 14-7 game. Nico Flatty went in from 18 yards out. Some mistakes caused St. Clair to tie it again, and then in overtime, St. Clair won it 21-20. We'll see if history repeats itself. Bob Palco certainly hopes it doesn't, but on a 2nd and 9, the ball is placed at the 33. Daniel Jones. This is Rodney Denard running to the right, springing free. And Denard has to be dragged down by 2 West Allegheny Indians to the 32-yard line. That's Nate Vislowski on the stop alongside, looks like, Kyle Guilfoyle. It's 3rd and 8 from the 32-yard line for Woodland Hills. The Wolverines have struggled all night long on 3rd down. They haven't converted a 3rd down yet. Actually, correction, they've converted 1 3rd down earlier in this drive out of 6 or 7 attempts, but a timeout will be called by head coach Bob Palco. Correction, it's an official's timeout. But nonetheless, West Allegheny trying to hold on a 3rd and 8 from the 32-yard line, led by head coach Bob Palco in his 23rd season. He is 206 wins, 68 losses. Former coach at IUP and Seton LaSalle. He is one of the most beloved coaches in all the WPIAL, but he's the kind of guy that deflects all the attention over to his coaching staff, such as Mark Davis, the longest tenured coach on the staff, Brian Cornell is 20-year defensive coordinator, Ed Marcellus, offensive line coach, Andy Berry, the Westminster Hall of Famer, just to name a few, as we resume live action. 3rd and 8, Jones hands off to Denard, and Denard is stopped again. Anthony Delavade and Nico Flatty bring him down at the line of scrimmage. It's 4th and 8 in what is probably a 4-down territory play for Woodland Hills.
Front 7, West Allegheny getting it done there. We didn't get to mention last play, Brent Mangold went out, and now West Allegheny once again coming up big, getting a stop on 3rd down, and Woodland Hills has struggled today on 3rd down.
4th and 8 for Woodland Hills. Rodney Denard has been churning the ball on this drive. Let's see if they give it to him. They will not. It's a bootleg. Daniel Jones throws the pass complete to Joshua Rawlings, and he picks up the 1st down to the 22-yard line. Joshua Rawlings, his first catch of the season, and it comes at a critical time. 1st and 10, Woodland Hills from the 22.
Great play design there. Rollout by Jones, finds Rawlings in stride on hash marks. Excellent play call.
Joshua Rawlings, one of the top class of 2020 recruits. As a matter of fact, Whippeal Insider has him ranked as the #1 sophomore, only with Mason Ventrone from Mount Lebanon on that list. 1st and 10 from the 22. Jones to Denard, has some space on the right side. Denard tries to turn the corner on Guilfoyle, gets a block from Taylor. And Denard close to the 1st down. It depends on where they spot it. It looks like he's a yard short, but it's 2nd down and very, very short for Woodland Hills if they decide not to give it to him.
It'll be 2nd down.
Correction, it is a 1st down for Woodland Hills down to the 12-yard line, so the Wolverines are moving the ball very effectively here on this drive. So Woodland Hills trying to punch it in from 12 yards out, but they'll have to punch it in the 4th quarter as the 3rd quarter clock will expire. It's 7-0 West Allegheny, but the Wolverines are knocking on the door and they have the momentum right now. West Allegheny just trying to cling on to the 7-0 lead. The winner of this game will get home field advantage for the 5A playoffs, and for West Allegheny, it is crucial that they get that home field advantage, especially if it's either Gateway or McKeesport they have to play in the 1st round. They want to play it here no matter what.
Well, last year, McKeesport, they played them in the Class 5A championship last year, winning 38-37 in overtime. What a performance last year. I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to attend that game. Were you at that game?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Big West State guy, Brandon Rosside, but absolutely a huge game for them last year. 13-1, 2016. Let's see if they can close this one out. This is huge playoff implications for them. Home field advantage at stake. West Allegheny, as you said, needs to close out the game.
The Allegheny 9 standings, as you see on the graphic on your screen, Woodland Hills and West Allegheny in a tie for second place. The winner will get sole possession of second place, especially with Woodland Hills facing Upper St. Clair next week. They want a chance to win the conference championship, or at least share the conference title with Upper St. Clair. With a win tonight and a win next week, they can split it with Upper St. Clair. And as a matter of fact, they can at least win the championship, or at least get a better seeding in the playoffs with a victory in the next 2 weeks. We're about to begin quarter number 4. Woodland Hills on the move. Ball is at the 12-yard line. They trail 7-0 against the West Allegheny Indians in what's been a very good defensive battle between two of the top defenses in all the Allegheny 9. Woodland Hills is the #1 defense in terms of points allowed. West Allegheny is the #1 defense in terms of yardage allowed. They've allowed 251 yards a game, which is the first time the West Allegheny defense, led by Brian Cornell, has averaged more than 200 yards given up since 2011, which West Allegheny was knocked out of the first round of the playoffs by Knock, led by quarterback Dylan Bongiorni and company. While Woodland Hills, the best defense in conference play, they're only averaging 12 points given up in Allegheny 9 conference play, but they do have 3 blemishes on the season. They lost to Fox Chapel in an upset in Week 2 and lost in non-conference matches to Gateway in Week 0, 35-23. And in Week 3, they lost to Penn Trafford 34-8. At the other 5A conference, the Big East, as a matter of fact, you're seeing the final standings from last season. Armstrong was at #1 just to see how competitive that the Big East Conference is. Armstrong doesn't even make the playoffs this season. It's now Penn Trafford looking to be the #1 seed if they can win this week and next week against McKeesport. Alongside McKeesport, as a matter of fact, and Gateway, they're fighting right now for that #2 spots. And Franklin Regional has already qualified as the #4 seed. So the Big East Conference is set. And all but one spot in the Allegheny 9 has been set. The only spot we're waiting to see is if Fox Chapel or North Hills will qualify as that 4th and final seed in the Allegheny 9 conference. Fox Chapel has a conference game against Chartiers Valley, a very winnable game for head coach Tom Loughran's squad, while North Hills has an out-of-conference game. So it's all in Fox Chapel's hands as to who qualifies for the playoffs. 1st and 10, Woodland Hills from the 12-yard line. They're trying to punch it in, and here comes Rodney Denard. He has a hole, but it's quickly closed up by Brent Mangold and a host of other Indians down to the 8-yard line, bringing up a 2nd down and 6.
Rodney Denard has been the most impactful player for this Woodland Hills team today. They've continued to feed him the ball. He had that large run in the 3rd quarter down to the 30-yard line, converting their only 3rd down of the day.
2nd down and 6 for Woodland Hills. An I formation for the Wolverines. Denard dots the I with Christopher Jones as the fullback. Denard gets the carry. Up the middle, he slips and falls, loses the ball. There's a scrum on the goal line, and the call is a turnover again for West Allegheny. They pick it up at the 1-yard line.
Denard has to be sick there. A chance to punch it in, tie the game at 7, and he coughs the ball up. Woodland Hills continues to make mistakes and shoot themselves in the foot. You can't do that if you want to beat a team like West Allegheny. What a game from the West Allegheny defense, and another mistake for Woodland Hills.
5 turnovers in the game. And we're at the 10:50 mark in the 4th quarter. West Allegheny on top 7-0. And now for the Indians, they're just trying to get out of the shadow of their own end zone. So West Allegheny trying to get out of their own end zone. Ball security is key here. They also want to avoid a safety.
Reset the clock to 10 minutes, 52 seconds.
Clock will be reset to 10:52.
It will start on the snap.
As West Allegheny takes over 1st and 10 from its own 1-yard line. We'll see what offensive coordinator Mark Davis and his sophomore quarterback Cam Cruz will draw up in the end zone. Looks like they're going to do a sneak just to get it out of their own end zone. It was virtually unstoppable last week. As Cruz sneaks it. And he didn't really go anywhere. He was brought down at the line of scrimmage, maybe.
And Cruz, the quarterback.
And that's officially no gain on the play. It's 2nd and 10.
10 minutes and change left. Woodland Hills needs a big stop here. And the process is on as Cam Cruz tries to sneak one straight up the middle, and he gets stuffed immediately. So we'll see if Woodland Hills can get the ball back with decent field position. They'll still get another crack at the end zone, try to tie this game up, and advance play a little bit more.
Take a guess who was on that tackle on the defensive line for Woodland Hills. It was Michael Lucas again. He's been unstoppable on the defensive line. 2nd and 10 from the 1. Direct snap. Weber down to the 3. The West Allegheny faithful wants a personal foul on Jaquan Smith. He tossed Colby Stout well beyond the play. But it's 3rd and 8 from the 3.
Woodland Hills needs a stop here if they want to stay in this one.
Especially inside the 5-yard line, that would be huge.
They can get excellent field position out of that.
Cam Cruz comes out. Could be a passing situation. Cam Cruz has already thrown an interception to Rodney Denard, so Cruz has to be careful here. Against the number 1 pass defense in the Allegheny 9, they're limiting quarterback rating-wise to just 93.
Timeout.
West Allegheny will have to take a timeout. Clock is stopped at 9:21 to play in regulation. The Indians have 2 timeouts remaining in regulation, I should say. West Allegheny next week will have a road matchup against the Moon Tigers. Stay tuned as we'll let you know on social media whether or not we will be broadcasting that game from Moon Tiger Stadium. It'll be Mitch Montani and me, Brandon Rossai, on the call if we broadcast next week. And then after that, it's all up to the playoff committee to decide where West Allegheny falls in the 5A playoffs, whether they get a home game or they have to go on the road against one of the teams in the Big East Conference, such as Gateway or McKeesport.
Comment I wanted to make on the play before the timeout was called. Woodland Hills did not have Rodney Denard out in that play. I thought that was very interesting considering he's been their most impactful player in this game, and also the fact that he's been a force at safety tonight. You've mentioned one of the best safeties arguably in the WPIAL, so I thought that was very intriguing. They did not have Rodney Denard out in the formation on that play.
We'll see if Denard will come back out on this play as both teams are in their timeout huddles. West Allegheny set to break it.
He did fumble the ball earlier, which put West Allegheny where they're at this point. You wonder if it's coach's way of just sitting him down for a little bit, or if there's an injury. Let's see if Rodney Denard's out here for this play.
I do not see Rodney Denard out on the field.
A kind of questionable call. It may be injury related, we do not know.
Instead, it's at safety, it'll be Jaden Lucas. We'll see how this defense responds to the West Allegheny passing game. 3rd down and 8 from the 3. Cam Cruz will roll out to the right, getting chased by Oliver. And Cruz completes the pass to Jake Davis to pick up the West Allegheny first down, giving the Indians some breathing room to the 16-yard line.
Finally out of their own end zone now. Humongous completion pass right there to Jake Davis. And Cam Cruz once again getting the job done on 3rd down. And the Indians live to fight another down.
Jake Davis, now the only West Allegheny wide receiver to go over 100 yards on the season. There was only one other player that went over 100 yards receiving, which was Mateo Vandamia. He's at 351 yards on the year. 1st and 10. This is Flatty up the middle. Flatty splits the defense and gets dragged down on the play, down to the 22-yard line. That's Sidney Summers tackling him hard after a 7-yard pickup. It's been a very physical game, as you saw there, a vicious tackle by Summers. West Allegheny is going to try to milk the clock down. They're that kind of team where they won't punch you in the mouth and attack you. They'll just pound you and pound you and pound you. We'll see if West Allegheny can pound the ball down the throat of Woodland Hills. Flatty again up the middle, tripped up by Barlow, but Flatty fights the extra yardage and gets the first down to the 27.
Huge first down pickup there. Keeps the clock moving. West Allegheny's in good position now to kind of play clock management and run the clock down a little bit more.
They'll spot it at the 26 for a 1st and 10. Will Weber will come out and take the snap, presumably. He was expected to see some limited action tonight. He's been one of the top running backs for West Allegheny. He's kind of lifted this team from the dead. Weber tosses to Flatty on the left side. He's hit hard by Jaden Lucas. Banged around a couple Woodland Hills Wolverines. And the forward progress will be marked at the 28-yard line. That's a pickup of 2. Lots of sweeps given to Nico Flatty from right to left. Pounding away at the Woodland Hills defense, They're trying to wear down this Woodland Hills attack. Will Weber again in the Wildcat. 2nd down and 8 from the 28. Weber fakes the throw, runs left, and Weber spins away from a tackler, and he falls down to the 36-yard line where Caleb Brevard falls on him. It's going to depend on the spot. The back judge is signaling the 35. The umpire is signaling the 36, and the ball is going to be placed at the 35-yard line.
Some creative athleticism there from Weber as he pump faked really well and got Eric Oliver to bite and picked up some positive yardage.
They caught Woodland Hills napping there. Will Weber, known to do that on occasion. It's worked out perfectly for West A, and tries to, and attempts to keep it, and there was all sorts of room on the left side. 3rd and short. Ball's just outside the 36-yard line, which is where West A needs to go to convert. And Weber spins away from a tackler, brought down by Brevard awkwardly alongside Sidney Summers. And Weber gets up just fine and will also pick up the first down to the 37. West Allegheny moving the ball yet again, dominating 3rd down as it has all season long. They're the best 3rd down team in the Allegheny 9. And the clock now ticks away at 6 minutes left. Nico Flatty will take the snap. 3 receivers to the left. And he runs up the middle. Flatty falls forward to the 40 for a gain of 3. It's 2nd and 7. Tackle will be charged to Sidney Summers as he fell down as Flatty was crossing his path. It's 2nd and 7 from the 40. Nico Flatty has come along very well as a West Allegheny running back. Was originally just a starter on defense, and ever since week 6, he's been kind of the guy since then. On a 2nd down and 7 from the 40, Tyler Gallant will take this snap. And we have Laundry on the field. We'll wait and see what the call is on the pre-snap penalty.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
West Allegheny gets backed up 5 yards to the 35 to set up a 2nd down and 12 for offensive coordinator Mark Davis and his offensive team. Follow us on Twitter for game updates on WA Sports Network. Only on Twitter you can check out the latest on what West Allegheny's doing and whether or not we will have broadcasts whenever we go on the road, such as this upcoming week when we go to Moon. 2nd and 12, Cam Cruz in as the quarterback. Cruz tucks it and runs up the middle. Woodland Hills chipping away at the ball. And an injury right now on a Woodland Hills Wolverine. A sticky situation. He has not moved his lower body. Couldn't see what happened to the injured Woodland Hills Wolverine, but ever since hitting the ground, he has not moved his lower body. This might not be good. Clock is stopped at 4:21 to go in the game. West A on top 7-0, and an offensive struggle for both teams. West Allegheny, his only score is a 3-yard touchdown run by Tyler Gallant, which was set up by two very good plays for the West Allegheny team. An interception by Noah Ledford, one of 5 turnovers picked up by the West Allegheny team. And then that was set up by a 39-yard touchdown, or a 39-yard run, by Tyler Gallant, set up the touchdown run from 3 yards out. And West Allegheny hasn't been able to do anything offensively since, other than move the ball offensively, but they haven't been able to score ever since.
Their clock management has been phenomenal. They've ran it down from 10 minutes all the way down to 4:21. They forced a fumble deep in their own territory and ended up taking it from the 1-yard line. They now currently sit deep almost into Woodland Hills territory, but they've done an excellent job of managing the clock, and Woodland Hills once again making mistakes that have been crucial to this game and crucial to them not succeeding.
West Allegheny right now trying to gobble up second place in the Allegheny 9, and they can do so if it holds on to the 7-0 lead over the Woodland Hills Wolverines. As the injured Woodland Hills player gets up, it's Micah Lucas, and that is a huge loss on the defensive line for the Wolverines. He has been an animal on both sides of the ball, making several tackles, several splash plays, leading to several Woodland Hills positive plays.
It's definitely good to see him walk off on his own power. As you mentioned earlier, big impact player for that front seven.
So Micah Lucas is fine, it looks like. He walks off the field under his own power. West Allegheny will take the field momentarily. It has 2 timeouts remaining compared to Woodland Hills' 2 as well. 4:21 to go in the game. West Allegheny's on top 7-0. They're looking to go up by another score. West Allegheny, the number 5 team, according to the Trib High School Sports Network top 10 rankings in Class 5A. Woodland Hills is number 6. 3rd down and 6 from the 41. Weber goes in motion. Cruz drops back to pass on a 3rd down. Rolls to the left, has all day, and he's under pressure by Brevard. Cruz throws an interception. Anthony Meredith with the pick at the 42-yard line. That's a huge interception thrown by Cameron Cruz to Meredith, and Woodland Hills could tie this game up now. There's 4 minutes to go, and they have the ball at the 43.
Cruz had a little bit of time to throw. He had 2 Indians in the area, but the throw was a little bit short, and Meredith ended up picking that ball off. Now they have great field position almost into West Allegheny territory. Let's see what Woodland Hills can do.
Wasn't the best pass thrown by Cameron Cruz. He didn't have any interceptions coming into the game. He's thrown 2 tonight. That's the 2nd turnover by West Allegheny. And Woodland Hills will go into Wildcat formation. Nas Taylor is going to take this snap. It's an awkward snap, but Taylor grabs it, runs to the left side, and tries to make a nice move, but is tripped up by Nate Vislowski at the line of scrimmage. So Nas Taylor, after having an impressive performance last week in the win against Moon, going 3 carries for 92 yards, hasn't really done anything since. He's only had 2 carries for 7 yards here tonight. Another Wildcat play coming up for Taylor on a 2nd and 10. A pre-snap penalty before the snap. If this is on Woodland Hills, this could be huge.
Good ball. False start. Offense.
The Wolverines are backed up by 5 yards. On paper, it's not that big of a loss, but in terms of momentum, that puts a halt to anything Woodland Hills had after the interception thrown by Meredith.
Yeah, Woodland Hills has the clock working against them right now, and if West A gets the ball back, their running game has been prolific, and their clock management game has been even better than that. I think that if this is 4-down territory for Woodland Hills, and they need to get on the board if they want to continue this game, because West A will run the clock out efficiently.
Davian Rochelle splits out as a wideout next to Denard. Rochelle hasn't gotten any targets yet. We'll see if he gets one here as Jones rolls to the right, trying to escape the pressure. Vandamia chasing him, and Vandamia wraps him up, brings him down. It won't be a sack as Jones gained positive yards, but it's still 3rd down and 13 from the 40.
Clock continues to run. Time is dwindling for this Woodland Hills offense.
Daniel Jones couldn't find anyone open. He tried to tuck it and run, and Vandamia, excellent closing speed, catching up to the 6', 218-pound quarterback. It's 3rd down and 13 from the 40. Jones again in the shotgun. Smith as the sidecar as Jones drops back, has all sorts of time. Gets a block from Hilliard, and Jones is strung out and brought down for a sack on the far side of the field. Brett Mangold and Mateo Vandamia in on the sack.
Vandamia making another big play. Once again, getting the quarterback Jones. Jones has some decent time to throw, but it looked like to be more of a coverage sack than anything, as he scrambled around a little bit, and as I said, all types of time to throw, but couldn't get anything done. As you see here on your monitor, Vandamia and Mangold getting to him. Good to see Mangold back in there. Vandamia being the primary guy to drag him down, and Mangold finished him off.
Mangold was blocked by Hilliard, and he never gave up, got to the quarterback, and a 4th and 15 will be coming up following the Woodland Hills timeout. They have one timeout remaining. The clock should be stopped at about 1:20 to go. This timeout was signaled with 1 minute and 23 seconds left. Clock now showing 1:18 in
This is the ball
regulation. Absolutely, but we said that 2 weeks ago against Upper St. Clair. The Panthers had a 4th down with about 70 seconds left. And then the next play, bam, fumble, recovered by St. Clair. And they go in and score. So I don't want to jump the gun just yet, but this will be huge, certainly, for West Allegheny to hold on this 4th and long.
Absolutely. Woodland Hills, West Allegheny's really run the ball well today. They've managed the clock very well, and if Woodland Hills can't pick this up, it gives West Allegheny the ball in Woodland Hills territory, so it'd be very difficult for Woodland Hills to get anything going off of that.
Clock will be reset to 1 minute and 21 seconds in regulation. Woodland Hills seemingly has one more chance to extend this drive on a 4th down and 15. Passing situation, Daniel Jones hasn't particularly been good in these situations. Let's see what he can do here. Jones back to pass, and Jones is sacked in the backfield. Anthony Taktis and Tyler Gallant with the sack in the backfield, and Woodland Hills turns the ball over on downs. It's West Allegheny football from the 30. A similar situation Upper St. Clair, but this time West Allegheny has some more field leverage, I should say. The ball is at the Woodland Hills 30-yard line, so even if they turn the ball over, the Wolverines have to go 70 yards if they take it from here. Woodland Hills only has one timeout remaining. Ledford is split out to the 40, and West Allegheny is in victory formation. So Cam Cruz will take this snap. More than likely will finish off the game, but Woodland Hills will have to take a timeout in order to stop the clock.
Woodland
West
Hills,
Allegheny,
their final timeout
more
of
than
the
likely,
game.
will walk away with a 7-0 victory over the Woodland Hills Wolverines. And really the play of the game, if we can pick one, it'd probably have to be the interception thrown by Daniel Jones to Noah Ledford. It sprung free the Tyler Gallant 39-yard run to the 7-yard line where Gallant punched it in, from 3 yards out. West Allegheny will move to second place in the Allegheny 9, 6-1 in the conference, 7-1 overall, heading into a big matchup next week against the Moon Tigers. And even though Moon isn't necessarily near the top of the standings, in terms of playoff positioning, this could be a big game for West Allegheny next week.
The West Allegheny, they've shown that they can run the ball. Getting Will Weber back this week has really added to the explosiveness of their offense. Tyler Gallant had a nice day. West Allegheny just an overall gutsy performance today against adversity and going to be locking up home field advantage. Woodland Hills is out of timeouts.
So West Allegheny should win this game depending on how they handle the snap. Woodland Hills will rush everyone. Cruz will just milk as much clock out as possible. Cruz wants a personal foul on Woodland Hills, but doesn't get it. I'll set up another victory formation for West Allegheny. Ball is at the 41-yard line. Clock now winding at 50 seconds left. Also, don't forget that the West Allegheny boys soccer team is in action tomorrow in the first round of the WPIAL Class 3A playoffs. It plays host to the West Mifflin Titans here at Joe P. DiMcCullough Stadium. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock if you plan on attending that one, while West Allegheny next week will go on the road to face its crosstown rival in the Moon Tigers. Last year was a chippy game. 33-14 was the final. An unexpectedly close game last week against the Tigers. And we'll see what happens this season. Moon knocked off North Hills earlier this season, but ever since then, Moon hasn't really done anything significant, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. And speaking of next week, we just got word from our wonderful Dakota Land that we will be broadcasting next week, our final regular season broadcast. Join us next week when Mitch Montani and me, Brennan Rossi, will have the call for you from Moon Tiger Stadium in a pivotal Allegheny 9 conference matchup that will decide where West Allegheny falls in the conference standings. The final here from West Allegheny, 7-0 over Woodland Hills. West Allegheny wins a slugfest, and really both offenses couldn't get anything going. And the key play, the interception, as I said, from Daniel Jones to Noah Ledford, springing free, a touchdown by Tyler Gallant. And pretty much the end was never in doubt for this West Allegheny team. But for my partner Sam Hickson, I'm Brennan Rossi saying so long from the West Allegheny Sports Network. Thank you so much for joining us for this Week 8 edition of the West Allegheny Sports Network. The final score: West Allegheny moves to second place and may have clinched home field advantage with a 7-0 win over the Woodland Hills Wolverines.